Hi, my name is Lauren Drainville, and I'm doing my social problems assignment on social privilege based on geography. So, some history and background, specifically on inner city poverty. Pinpointing an actual reason behind inner city poverty is oftentimes quite difficult and complex, as there are multiple factors that can contribute to it, as well as differing opinions on what is a viable reason. So, what may seem like an important factor to one individual may not seem like the most important factor to another. Some potential factors that may contribute to inner city poverty include a lack of human capital in the labor force. Now, this is a lack of appropriate wages and job competition to those who live in an impoverished situation. It's oftentimes leading to a lack of productivity because there's really no advancements in their job field. Another potential factor is structural economic shifts. Now, this is a worldwide phenomenon where there's little to no need for hard manual labor due to the technological advancements we've been making that are taking all of these jobs from these individuals. Another potential factor is the discrimination amongst those in housing, education, and employment. Some discrimination in housing, there's little to no opportunity to live in nice locations for these impoverished people. Oftentimes, they live in dangerous areas. In regards to education, families can afford to send their children to good schools because of their lack of funds. In regards to employment, discrimination amongst race and ethnicity is so prevalent in employment situations, as well as a lack of education, which goes back to families not being able to send their kids to good schools, therefore, they can't get good jobs because these good jobs require a good education. So, some personal experience. I was really lucky enough to live in a privileged situation where my family can live comfortably. And I've never been one to take advantage of this, especially in high school where I had the opportunity to work with people who live in inner city situations where they're living in poverty. Um, I did so through an organization called Young Neighbors in Action, where basically we're volunteers who went to these locations and helped out in any way we could for these impoverished people. Specifically, I worked with young children in these impoverished areas in the daycare systems. So I've seen a lot of children come through those doors who live in some hard times. I had one kid who wore the exact same outfit every single day, no matter how dirty it was. And the daycare owner, she would oftentimes change the child and wash them during the day and then re put these clothes on and send them home so they can have clean clothes but also not hurt the feelings of the families who can't afford to send their child in anything else. I also worked with kids who told me a lot of stories about the places that they lived in and the dangerous and criminal activity that they've experienced, which no one should experience at such a young age. It's incredible the difference in our lives based on the geography that we live in. So these kids, they live in these inner city situations, whereas I live in a very small town that seems to be more well off. So, in relation to our class topics, inner city poverty and the social privilege based on our geography, I think relates to more than just one of our class topics. In fact, it touches upon most of the topics that we've covered so far, such as socialization, deviance, race and ethnicity, education, and social stratification. In regards to socialization, many times these people who live in inner city poverty, they're isolated and they have limited access to interact with a broad spectrum of people and cultures. In regards to deviance, a lot of times people can sometimes turn to crime and deviance due to this poverty. They don't have what they need, so they take it in any way they can. Race and ethnicity is a very, very, very large subject in regards to inner city poverty, and I'm barely going to touch the surface of it. But social injustices and preconceived biases against people of color and differing religious beliefs is so, so prevalent. In regards to education, again, a lack of advanced education system for these young people because of the insufficient funds they have. They can't afford to do higher education and send their kids to good schools. So oftentimes education is put on the back burner for these people. In regards to social stratification, In general, these people are ranked lower in society due to the lack of privilege and opportunity to advance in comparison to those who live in higher privileged areas. So, the sociological framework that I chose that is most in relation to social privilege based on geography is conflict theory. And our textbook describes it as the way inequalities contribute to social differences and perpetuate differences in power. So, those who live in inner city poverty have less than those who live off it well in suburban neighborhoods and other places of wealth. The wealthy do the most they can to stay wealthy, while keeping those less fortunate suppressed from achieving economic and social growth. Everything in our society is a competition, and unfortunately, that those people in poverty they don't have the privilege of having the upper hand and getting first choice of the best. And these are my references. Thank you so much.